Tonight on Metro News, we look at what Cantabrians are doing to help some of the city's most vulnerable. The latest craze, is it spinning out of control? And we take a look at the Garden City's newest eatery. Kia ora, good evening. Welcome to your local news bulletin brought to you by the students of the New Zealand Broadcasting School.
First up tonight, soup, bread and friendly faces. That's how one Christchurch group is supporting the homeless. Katie Scotcher visited the soup kitchen and joins us now. Katie.
There's nothing much going on here at Latimer Square at the moment, but if you drive by most evenings, you'll see a gathering of homeless people having their dinner. There are no exact figures of the amount of people living rough in Christchurch, but the City Mission estimates it's around 8,000, and helping a number of groups and organisations like the one I visited last night. Monday night in Latimer Square, and the Reformed Church takes its usual place at the centre of this huddle in the dark. After a moment of thanks, some hearty sustenance.
You know, these people are in real need, okay? They don't know where their next meal is coming from. Some of them are from very unstable backgrounds, and so having people come and show some care and give them food consistently each Monday night means a great deal to them.
They've been serving the good stuff for years.
Well, we started it 5 years ago. We just felt the need for the homeless people. Not all are homeless, but a lot are.
They're one of 7 groups that set up a station in the square every week.
We come each Monday and we present a Christian message to the group, and then we feed them soup and bread mainly, with other things as they are donated.
According to the most recent census, there are 40,000 homeless people in New Zealand. That's 1 in every 100 people. And our City Missioner thinks in Christchurch especially, it's a real issue.
I think that Christchurch is potentially slightly more exacerbated because I know that we keep harking back to the earthquake, but the reality is that the earthquake has had a significant impact on people's mental health.
He supports any efforts to help, but there's always room for more.
Look, I think we know that there is a need in our community, and I think what we need to be able to do is to get people to perhaps change their perspective as to what their responsibility is in that space.
A space being filled here by caring volunteers. While we were talking to the City Missioner, he was saying just how important the soup kitchens are. He went on to explain just how many people in the community need the help. Last year they gave out 26,000 food parcels. They also provided nearly 8,000 people with a bed for the night. So his message? All the groups helping out need help themselves, and every little bit makes a difference.
Thanks, Katie.
And there's plenty more where that came from. A craft group in Aranui are doing their bit to help the homeless and save the environment at the same time. As I discovered, it's also bringing people together. Every Tuesday afternoon in a cosy church on Breezes Road, you'll find a tight-knit community turning plastic bags into something invaluable for people sleeping rough. And here's the prototype.
But these will keep people dry. There's a bit of softness there. They won't get dirty. They can hose them down. They won't carry any disease like bed bugs or anything, because bed bugs can't attach themselves to the plastic.
Before the earthquakes, there were over a dozen Handyscope groups. Snambros now hosts one of just 4 in the city. They're a chance to be creative and socialise, and now they're giving back to the community too. Once they've sourced enough bags, they need roughly 1,000 per mat. They sort and flatten them. The bags have to be cut into strips, then linked together to make plan, plastic yarn. The hard part is all the knitting and crocheting.
Bob's your uncle. So now I just need more plastic bags.
At barely 160 centimetres, I might not be the ideal bedroll guinea pig, but crocheted plastic is actually quite comfortable, and they're easy to roll up and cart around.
We want to try and get at least a dozen finished before we give them out to someone, and I think I'd go through the St Ambrose Church to find out where the homeless hang out, and then we can see what we can do.
The project also benefits those doing the work.
It's helping them in lots of ways, physically, mentally, and if some have got arthritis, it's helping them to, some of the things they've been doing, it's helping them using their hands, so it's doing a great deal of skills for everyone.
Providing companionship, helping the homeless and caring for the environment, all rolled into one. For Metro News, Annabelle Keane.
Christchurch Police are distributing leaflets around the Hallsville area asking residents for any information about missing man Michael McGrath. The 49-year-old mysteriously disappeared 2 weeks ago and family haven't sighted him since. Police say they have grave concerns for his safety.
For many people, sitting next to a smoker is an unpleasant and unwanted experience. All cafes and bars around the city are being encouraged to go smoke-free outdoors after a trial run has proved a winner with customers. Lauren Jones has been looking into the issue.
For many, it's a daily indulgence. Now more coffees are being poured with fresh air in the mix.
Well, essentially the Fresh Air project is a new innovative project for Christchurch, which involved 20 cafe venues in Christchurch who voluntarily made their outdoor areas smoke-free.
The 6-month pilot's come to an end, with most places choosing to stay that way. Under the Red Veranda is one of the 20 hospitality venues to take part in the trial and will continue to make their outdoor dining space smoke-free.
Mandy, the owner, and I were really for it because Mandy's just become a grandmother and I have a toddler, so it was both in our mind's eye, so we thought it was a really great thing to do.
And it seems customers are backing the change.
Most of our customers have given us really good feedback. We're a really family-orientated cafe, so it's really good for the children, I think.
Celebrating the end of the pilot at a Port Hills cafe this week, those behind it say it's a great step towards reaching the ultimate goal.
We hope that the next generation of New Zealanders will be smoke-free. So I would hope that when my kids grow up, the smoke-free is the norm. So that's it. That's the goal of a smoke-free 2025.
Currently, 15% of Kiwis still light up. The 2025 goal is to get that down to 5%. And while this test run is over, for most, the new way is here to stay. Now other businesses are being encouraged to make the change. Lauren Jones, Metro News.
New Zealanders are being challenged to plant 4.7 million native trees this year, one for every person in the country. We've just had Arbor Day and Laura Cunningham went along to Homelessness Quarry to check out the tally so far.
Digging, patting and stomping. It's all about Arbor Day, a worldwide annual event to encourage tree planting and education.
I like planting native trees.
And the gathering at Horswell Quarry was all about natives.
I think it's great that we continue to think about how we look after the environment, and planting is a great way to do that. Young kids right through to grandmas and granddads, and coming out and getting involved in the environment, which is fantastic.
Events like this one count towards New Zealand's Arbor Day goal of planting 10,000 trees. Organisers happy the final figure was nearly 15,000. Also happy we're nearly halfway towards our annual goal of 1 tree for every New Zealander.
Just push it all in, that's it, good girl.
Everyone glad to be doing their bit.
I like gardening and we're coming here as a family.
Well, it's great. It's a very, very good project. And you've got a great turnout of people here.
I've been coming to these planting things for, I don't know, 12 years or so. It's great to see the things you've planted years ago now a flourishing bit of forest or bush.
It's all about the collective Kiwi spirit.
This is the perfect way of people of the city contributing to the future of the city.
Relaxing now, but there's still plenty more trees to plant by the end of the year to reach that annual tally. Laura Cunningham, Metro News.
Coming up on Metro News, Jamie Goff joins us in the studio to discuss the Dirty 30, and the Christchurch Petanque Club finds a new home.
My name's Chris Nichol and I'm head of production for Capital FM Network, doing TV, I'm doing online, I'm doing event audio, and I'm working with a team of 8 people. We make everything, every single sweeper, ident, thing that says what radio station you're listening to, what TV station you're watching. Broadcasting school put me in a scenario where I had to figure things out. Hands-on learning, getting stuck in, teaching yourself stuff. It also prepared me for the sorts of people that you come in contact with in media and how to deal with situations, especially high stressful situations. The great thing was the tutors were really encouraging and really helpful. They were like senior members of staff in a real radio station. Nowhere else will you get hands-on learning that actually lands you in a real radio station doing real work as part of the course. I have freelanced at some fantastic places and made some really good friends just from being able to turn up and be nice and polite and professional. All of those things is what broadcasting school was really good at versing you in. Being in London, it's a melting pot of creativity and ideas and people. I'm doing stations in Iceland, Germany, America, New Zealand still, which is wonderful. I can't say I expected it to be quite like this, but it's awesome.
Welcome back. Fidget spinners are the latest craze to hit New Zealand schools. To many, they're simply a toy, a distraction, but some say they have their place in the classroom because they help students with ADHD and autism. Delphine Herbert is covering the story and joins us now. Delphine.
This is what all the fuss is about. They come in many colours. They range from $5 to $25. You can even get ones that glow in the dark. As you can imagine, kids love them, but opinions are divided on whether or not they play a role in the classroom. I visited two schools with two very different views.
Fidget spinners, they're taking over classrooms. They're the latest craze, a craze some would say is spinning out of control.
At one point it went from 2 or 3 boys having it to about 50 boys having it. Started to get the idea of, well, maybe it isn't a bad thing, maybe it's something we need to look at using.
Some say they help calm kids with ADHD and autism. Whether they do or not, St Thomas School has welcomed them into the classroom.
So I've looked at using a sheet that sort of the boys put next to them, or as a group task, as a time management device, where it might be used for group chats, it might be used to get started as like to follow instructions, or it might be as just a way of keeping on task for those boys that have high levels of off-task behaviour.
But not all schools agree.
Christchurch South School has banned fidget spinners completely, as they say they're a distraction to students in the classroom.
At the end of the day, they are a toy. I think the biggest thing for me is that not only do the kids use them when they shouldn't be in class time, but the rest of the group of kids around them get distracted.
She says it makes teaching more difficult and there's no proof they work.
You know, the fact that as yet we haven't really seen any research to show that it can be helpful.
Students can use them on their breaks.
I know that they're mostly helpful for like if you fidget with your hands, so like for example, like I fidget with my hands a lot. And like I think it would actually be helpful for me though.
Yeah, I reckon this would help my autism a little bit, but I'm not sure it would affect it very well. I think it would kind of be like a toy a little bit.
There's no doubt they're popular, but inside the classroom, opinions are divided.
I also spoke to a psychologist here in Christchurch, and she says they may be beneficial for some children. She says fidget spinners are much the same as someone clicking a pen, but points out it's important that they don't end up distracting the child too much or distracting others in class.
Thanks, Delphine.
After 6 years, the Christchurch Petanque Club has finally found a new home. The grounds in North Hagley Park are now open, and I went along to check out the new facilities.
This has been a long time coming. Petanque players here finally have a terrain in a clubhouse they can call their own.
Look, it's fantastic. You know, the council comes in for a lot of criticism over many things. But in our case, all we can say is thank you very much.
Before the 2011 earthquakes, Christchurch Petanque used the RSA Bowling Club as their Hagley Park base. But when the building was demolished, they had nowhere to go and members halved. They hope this asset will turn that around.
And now that we have or are about to move in permanently to this new ground, we're expecting to get recruitment underway again.
These grounds have been carefully groomed. Clubroom facilities are being shared with high school old boys rugby and United croquet.
The Christchurch Petanque Club will host the Oceania Championships later this year in October. It'll be the first time Christchurch has ever held the event and the second time it's ever been in New Zealand.
Running a training camp for elite players, a top coach says the facility caters for all and will raise the sports profile here.
You have to form a sort of balance between top players who want it exceptionally difficult and the club player who wants to come out and enjoy his petanque. So I think they've achieved that.
Players themselves are delighted.
Absolutely amazing. Long time waiting for it since the earthquake.
So it's just well deserved. So that's going to be, I think, fantastic for Christchurch.
Final touches will be made to the grounds before showcasing this facility to the rest of the world at the Oceania Championships. Maddie Lloyd for Metro News.
The Christchurch City Council is putting pressure on building owners who are holding up the city's rebuild. Malindi Wilson joins us in studio now with City Councillor Jamie Goff to discuss the issue. Malindi.
Thanks, Annabelle, and thank you, Jamie, for joining us today. Firstly, what exactly is the Dirty 30?
Well, fundamentally it's the name that's been given to 30 of the worst offenders as far as buildings go holding up the recovery. There are a handful of those which probably aren't going to be pursued, but they're the ones that they're derelict, they're encroaching in public realm, and they're probably slowing down the regeneration of our city.
And what action can the council take with the buildings on the list?
Well, this is a new framework, or a hit list, I guess, where we've given full licence to our council staff to go after these people. Like I said, there are a couple of exceptions where they're not going to be pursued, but we need to have a line in the sand, and we'd rather the council staff took the risk and, you know, I say to them, go for the jugular. Actually, we know who these people are. They've been holding the city to ransom, so I think it's time for them to pay. It ultimately means that it's a framework where they start putting the pressure on the beginning. The public pressure, like we're even getting now, is actually good. If we publicly shame them into taking action, great, I think. And the next step is actually hitting them in the pocket, where you charge footpath rentals and you actually sting them financially. Third step is compulsory acquisition. Wouldn't mind seeing the cathedral publicly acquired, but we live in hope.
And what is your response to claims the letter the council sent out to these building owners was threatening?
Good. I think that's fantastic. We wanted it to be threatening. I think the worst thing we could do is pussyfoot around and be terribly politically correct. This is 6 years on, and there are a range of people that have had a sizeable insurance payout, and it's not just affecting them. I wouldn't care if it was just them that are suffering, but it's everyone else that's really trying to make a go of the rebuild. So if there are a handful of building owners that have had a sizeable insurance payout and they can't be bothered taking action, and they feel like their feelings have been hurt by it, I think fantastic. I want their feelings to be hurt by it, and I'd really like them to get on and stop holding Christchurch to ransom, because we're trying to rebuild a city and 99% of people are doing their absolute best. They should be commended, but unfortunately the ones that aren't getting on with it are slowing us all down, and that's really disappointing.
What do you have to say about the buildings that were mistakenly added to the list by the council?
I think it's regrettable, but on the flip side, if you're not getting something wrong every now and again, you're probably not putting yourself out there, you're probably not trying. Councils inherently are risk averse, and I think that this has been a step change, that they've drawn a line in the sand, and there will be some of these buildings that we're not going to pursue because common sense will prevail. Technically do qualify, you know, they're derelict, they're encroaching in the public realm, but ones where there are complex insurance negotiations or there are complicated heritage reinstatement programs underway, look, they're not the focus of it. Common sense will prevail, and council staff will not pursue them, and I'm publicly apologising to those people because they're not the target of this, but we needed to have a line in the sand, and we needed to have a go at trying to remedy this, because it's 6 years on, and that's just far too long in my opinion. I think everyone's over it.
And just lastly, what do you have to say about the buildings that were mistakenly added to the list?
I think that it's something that, you know, I'm happy that council staff will show some common sense around it. So I apologise to those people because they're not the intention of it.
Cool, thanks Jamie. Back to you, Maddie and Annabelle.
Thanks Malindi.
After the break on Metro News, we bring you the latest weather forecast, and it takes more than puppy love to take care of a husky.
My name is Ella Cook. I'm a television production manager in London. I work for a company called Red House Television. I work on property shows, comedy and entertainment. I worked as the production assistant on New Zealand's Got Talent on Target, on What Now. I came to London nearly 4 years ago now. Didn't have any issues finding a job at all. I went to a company called Hat-Trick Productions. We won a BAFTA last year, as well as were nominated this year. To even be nominated and go to the awards was something I never ever thought that I would ever do, but then to also win it and go up on the BAFTA stage was just a brilliant feeling. I love living in London. Definitely a big change from living in New Zealand. There's so many people, it's so busy and bustling all the time. I also love being able to just go to the theatre or see something different every night. The professionalism that we are taught at broadcasting school really helps in the wider world. I had my degree on my CV as well as the work experience that I'd gained after my internship. I would never have thought that I'd get this far. It's the best thing that I ever did for my career. There's no way that I would be where I am today without the degree that I have.
Welcome back. A new eatery near High Street is the latest attraction coaxing Cantabrians back into the city. Little High Eatery houses 8 new restaurants and bars, many of which have come from temporary premises like caravans and markets. Kethiki Masalamani reports.
It's Christchurch's latest little eatery, a collection of swanky joints under one roof, now calling one of the city's once vibrant streets home.
High Street does have a lot of history, and it is great to be back in the city. A lot of people don't like sort of the new Christchurch, so there's a lot of bad publicity. They're saying there aren't enough small businesses in the city, so we're hoping we can prove those people wrong.
The idea behind the Little High Eatery was to bring the best of the local food scenes into one central spot. Many of these businesses have been based in markets, the container mall or food trucks, so it's a big change. One expert says it's great to see small businesses get the chance to make their mark.
So they've come from, a wee idea they could trial out in a temporary fashion without having too much, overheads and commitments, to now being, a fully committed business with a lease. And I think it's really, really cool to see.
High Street is still rebuilding itself following the 2011 earthquakes. While places like C1 and Allison Videoland were quick to re-establish themselves, the bars, eateries, boutiques and cafes that once made the street vibrant are yet to do so. The Christchurch City Council says 238 food businesses are now located within the city's 4 avenues. While there have been nerves we're reaching a saturation point, foot traffic in the city is growing every day.
The more people that move back into the city to work, there'll be more opportunity for those businesses to do better. So I'm fairly positive about the future for the city.
And just in a week, Bacon Bros are positive too.
So we've been making burgers for like 7 days straight, sleeping only 1 or 2 hours a night, so having to restock twice a day. So the response has been amazing. It's been awesome.
Cantabrians are embracing the Little High Eatery, where owners like Troy are putting their heart and soul into a street still coming to life. Kethiki Masalamani, Metro News.
Huskies, adorable, fluffy and with piercing blue eyes. Who would have thought the word abandoned should be added to the list? Brooke Sullivan finds out why.
Samurai, Ira, Apache and Kessler. They're on a fundraising visit to the Antarctic Centre, where they're the stars. Just some of the 300 huskies rescued in the last 6 years.
So unfortunately people buy them because they think they're cute, or they've watched too much Snow Dogs or 8 Below or Twilight or Game of Thrones, and they wanted something that looks like a wolf, and then they kind of have an issue when they get one that behaves like it.
These guys are the most rehomed dog breed in New Zealand, so what makes them stand out above the rest?
It's those wolf-like traits.
That they will jump a 6-foot fence or a 1.8 metre fence. They will eat your cat, your stock, your small fluffy dog, your bunny, your guinea pig in general. They need 5k running a day every single day, and they're not reliable off a lead.
These outings are a chance to teach people about husky rescue too. Michelle takes on dogs through animal welfare groups or simply word of mouth. New owners are carefully vetted.
Can't just walk in and go, I want that one. We actually match them to the dog.
It's no holiday taking on this special job. Michelle relies on bookings like this, community events, even visits to universities to help ease study stress, to pay for the 18 huskies she's currently looking after.
At the moment we do about $70,000 a year comes out of our own pockets. We are not funded, so we are sponsored by Royal Canin. So if anybody wants to help us out and help save some of these dogs, we have a Give a Little page, we have a bank account on our Facebook, so please feel free to support us.
A beautiful breed in a rough situation. Michelle's advice, choose a dog you can love and care for. Brooke Sullivan, Metro News.
Emily's here now with the weather. How's it looking, Emily?
Unfortunately, it's not looking that great this week, but we'll get into details in just a second, Annabelle. It's been a cloudy day for most of the country, with Wellington and Auckland both experiencing a sprinkling of rain up north. Christchurch starting the day at 6 degrees and climbing to a high of 11. The Garden City will remain chilly tomorrow, starting off with a cool 4 degrees. However, you might want to bring your brolly for the morning rush, as it's predicted there will be spots of rain first thing. Further south, and it's looking the weather isn't that different. Twizel and Ashburton are both cloudy with a chance of frost in Ashburton. Timaru starting off with a cool 1 degree and the cloud covering the sky for most of the day. Looking up the South Island, Hamner and Kaikoura, both are cloudy with a chance of an early drizzle in Kaikoura. Oxford's looking the best tomorrow with a sunny day and a high of 11 degrees. Canterbury looks like it will remain the same throughout the week and heading into the weekend with cloudy days and patches of rain, so it could be a wet weekend for winter sports. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and that's all from me. Back to you, Maddie and Annabelle.
Thanks, Emily. And that's Metro News for tonight.
For those stories and more, head to our website, metronews.co.nz. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Join us again tomorrow night. I'm Maddie Lloyd.
And I'm Annabelle Keane.
Ka kite anō.